Before we get started, please go over to Amazon.com and grab a copy of my book, Education and Justice. If you have an African-American son in public school, you need this book because I teach you the many ways that public schools mistreat African-American boys and what you can do to help your son. So go over there and get your copy immediately. The level of Trump's evil is constantly being revealed, although I didn't need any more proof. But today he said something that we need to stop, pause, and just look at it for what it is. Just pure racist white supremacy. Now, we already know that about Trump, those of us who are thinking straight and who are not a part of this cult. But again today, it just came out, and he's to the point now where he doesn't care who knows it, who hears it. He knows that he's in a very powerful position over the country, over the world, for the next 3.5 years. So who cares what anyone thinks? He's just letting it out. So what am I talking about? Let's go to another screen. Talking about something Trump said about slavery. All right, let's read this Truth Social post. The museums throughout Washington, but all over the country, are essentially the last remaining segment of woke. So clearly, he is on a binge, a war, if you will, with wokeness. He despises it, he hates it, and it's not just him, it's also MAGA at large. Hey family, do you believe in the work we're doing? Does our content speak to you? Do you appreciate our in-depth legal analysis and political commentary from an African-American perspective? Do you believe it matters to our community? Then don't just watch from the sidelines. Please click that membership button and become a member of the 2% Club today. That's right, we need just 2% of our subscribers to become channel members. For just $4.99 a month, that's less than 20 cents a day, you'll help us keep creating powerful content that defends our democracy, demands justice, and develops a strong African-American community. But if you want more, at $9.99 a month, which is only 33 cents a day, you'll get access to exclusive members-only live streams, bonus content, and behind-the-scenes updates. And for just $14.99 a month, which is under 50 cents a day, our top-tier members get access to live Zone calls, strategy sessions, and a direct voice in shaping this movement. We're not just building a YouTube channel. Folks, we're building a movement based on righteousness and justice, just what our community needs in a time of disinformation and division. So if you believe in what we're doing, click the membership button and join now. Become a member of the 2% Club today. Let's build something powerful together. They are attacking wokeness, critical race theory, anything that is intended to benefit or is a tool against white supremacy. They are attacking it. So he says the Smithsonian is out of control, where everything discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was, and how unaccomplished the downtrodden have been. Nothing about success, nothing about brightness, nothing about the future. We're not going to allow this to happen. And I have instructed my attorneys to go through the museums and start the exact same process that has been done with colleges and universities, where tremendous progress has been made. This country cannot be woke because woke is broke. We have the hottest country in the world, and we want people to talk about it, including in our museums. And by the way, the country is beginning to experience a bad economic situation. So when he says the country is the hottest in the world, I don't know what data he's reading. Anyway, He says that the Smithsonian is out of control because it talks too much or displays too many exhibits about how bad slavery was. Well, see, this is what is called revisionist history. He's trying to rewrite history. And the danger with that, people, is if you forget history, you're bound to repeat it. So he's trying to rewrite history according to his understanding of history, or according to his standard of history. And we can't allow that to happen as a people. We as a people, we cannot allow him to rewrite history. We cannot allow him and MAGA to downplay the impact, the ugliness, the brutality of history. We cannot let that happen because slavery was awful. And the truth of the matter is, it's never really been fully told. I read a book entitled The Half Has Not Been Told. We seldom in this country talk about just how horrible slavery really was. It was the most brutal, awful slave system that human beings ever created. We know other societies had slavery, but none to this level. None to this level. And we also know that slavery was permitted in the Bible, but not to this level. The Egyptian enslavement of the Jewish people, that lasted 400 years. Slavery here lasted 246 years, legalized slavery. And then there was another 100 years of slavery, you might as well say, with Jim Crow. And we're still fighting with deep systemic racism to this day. But the level of brutality, this race-based slavery, this was on a completely different level. And we cannot allow them to rewrite this. But that's exactly what they're trying to do, and we got to stand in the way of that. We got to stand in the way of that. The institutions that we control, such as the church, African American churches. We control some schools. We have HBCUs. We have barbershops. We have beauty shops. We have, where we sit around at the gym in certain places and talk. When we do that, we got to be these oral historians where we are sharing our history. Not that we relish in slavery, not that we, are happy that our ancestors were enslaved, but that it was so awful that we cannot allow this country to forget it, to downplay it, to dismiss it, to do what they are doing down in Florida, telling us that it improved black people, that some black people came out of slavery with some good job skills. We can't let these people play with us like that. We know how brutal slavery was, and we got to pass that oral history down. If they're not going to do it in the school system, we're going to use those, again, institutions and methods of communication that we still do control. Now, if you have any doubt about how horrible slavery was, let's read an excerpt from a really good book that you should get. If you have children that are in school, grade school children, you should make them read this book by Frederick Douglass. All right? So Frederick Douglass just gives us a taste of how bad slavery was just here in this short excerpt. And here's what he says. If at any one time of my life more than another, I was made to drink the bitterest dregs of slavery, that time was during the first 6 months of my stay with Mr. Covey. We were worked in all weathers. It was never too hot or too cold. It could never rain, blow, hail, or snow too hard for us to work in the field. Work, work, work was scarcely more than the order of the day, then of the night. So they had to work day and night, regardless of the elements, regardless of what was going on, they had to work. The longest day were too short. And the shortest nights, too long. So he's given us a taste of what this was like. He goes on to say, I was somewhat unmanageable. In other words, he still had his mind, his sassiness, his personality. When I first went there, but a few months of this discipline tamed me. Mr. Covey succeeded in breaking me. He was emasculated from the horrific, brutal treatment of slavery. And Trump says the Smithsonian spends too much time and is obsessed with how bad slavery was. He said, I was broken in body, soul, and spirit. This is a first-hand account of how horrible slavery was. And Trump is complaining that the National Museum of African American Art and Culture, I believe the name of it is, I've been there, I love the place, spends too much time not talking about, in Trump's mind, how great America is, but in his mind spends too much time talking about how human beings were trafficked and enslaved and brutalized and treated less than animals. He wants to get past that. He wants to erase that. And not just him, MAGA and white supremacists generally. They don't want to be reminded of that. They don't want their children to know how evil their great-great-grandparents were. My natural elasticity was crushed. My intellect languished. The disposition to read departed. The cheerful spark that lingered about my eye died. The dark night of slavery closed in upon me. And behold, a man transformed into a brute. It leaves you speechless at just how horrible slavery was for our ancestors. And we just need to take this moment right now, really, to give them a shout out. Let's do that. Because any people who survive this are exceptional people. So we just had to say, hey, thank God. And we can't forget God because he brought us through this. And no matter what Trump tries to do, it doesn't matter. No matter how much he tries to erase this, it's not going anywhere. This is a part of American history and American culture. And slavery will be remembered when Trump is gone, when he is moved on into the afterlife to face God. And he will face God. All of us are going to face God. He's going to face a just and righteous God. That day is coming for everyone. And he will give an account. He will give an account for what he says and the way he treats African American people. But this tells us something. This tells us, there's this supposed crime-ridden city, D.C. and New York and so forth. And I've been trying to say that when you treat people the way this country has treated African American people for 400 years, the impact will be exactly what Frederick Douglass describes. This is the impact of oppression. This is the result of enslavement, of racial oppression, of being treated like less than an animal. This is what they have done to our people. We survived it. We overcame it. And in many ways, we thrive today despite it. But in so many other ways, our community suffers from 400 years of oppression. Human beings God didn't make us to be oppressed. That does something to our psyche. That does something to our mental health. That does something to our emotional health. And that's what Frederick Douglass is telling us here. He said, I was broken. Broken in his body broke down, broken in his soul, broken in his spirit. And that happens again on a mass level, not just Frederick Douglass, but any people who go through this. My natural elasticity was crushed. His humanity, crushed. His intellect languished. He stopped desiring to read. You see, when we see young black men in school not wanting to read, not wanting to stimulate their intellect, that is the result of oppression. That is the result of 400 years of subjugation for simply being African American people. He said, the disposition to read departed, the cheerful spark that lingered about my eye died. The dark night of slavery closed in upon me. And behold, a man transformed into a brute. So when we see African American men doing some of the things that we see them doing, there has to be some pity there. Because, again, 400 years of oppression just wears and beats people down. And that's what has happened to us. And so that's why I said in a previous video, white supremacy and white supremacists are the real criminals. Because what they've done to our people is the reason why you see us, some of us, a minority of us, behaving the way that we do. What a resilient people. What a resilient people. So no matter what Trump says, we're not going to let him rewrite history. The Jewish American community, no. They have museums all over the country. You don't hear Trump saying anything about those, do you? You don't hear anything about that. You don't hear him saying anything about all the many ways the Jewish American community reminds this nation of anti-Semitism and what happened to them in the Holocaust. It's black people. It's black people that he despises. I am sorry that we're going through this. I knew we would, which is why I spent 2024 pleading and begging and warning, admonishing, doing everything I could to say, don't vote for this man. Don't vote for Project 2025. Don't put MAGA back in office. Don't put Stephen Miller back in power. Don't put Charlie Kirk back in power. Don't put Trump back in power. Don't put Kevin Roberts back in power. Don't put Speaker Mike Johnson back in power. Don't do it. Don't do it. But unfortunately, so many of our people, especially our young men, listen to pro-black imposters who did everything they could to help Trump get reelected. And what really gets me is how they now are faking concern for the African-American community as Trump does all this stuff. Anyway, I am Reverend Civil Rights Attorney Augustus Corbett. Thank you for watching this video, and despite what Trump says, stay woke.